So in the last part, we have discussed about the correctness analysis, about experimental analysis and formal analysis, and we have seen that in formal analysis there are three kind of rule, right? One is sequential statement rule, next there is a conditional statement rule, and finally there is loop statement rule. So in this part, we are going to discuss about sequential statement rule. Okay. So in sequential statement rule, or the sequential statement rule can be applied on an algorithm or a part of an algorithm where the instructions are only the sequential instructions. Okay, it means that the instruction that are in that algorithm or that part of algorithm is basically containing only the instruction which are sequential in nature. Okay, there is no branching or no looping. If we take an example like adding two numbers, okay, so what we can have, we'll have like an algorithm called add, okay, and then it can have two number, right, x comma y, which are basically input to the algorithm add. Okay, next what we can do, we have to add this thing, right? So let this equals to x plus y, z equals to x plus y, and we then return, okay, we then return z. So suppose this is my algorithm for adding two numbers. Okay, so what we have in this algorithm, we have only two sequential statements, which is this one, okay, and probably this one, though return can be a branching statement as well, but let us assume that for this time being that this is an sequential statement. Okay, so this algorithm contains only two sequential statement in this algorithm. Okay, so this sequential statement rule again can be applied to an algorithm where the algorithm is consists of a sequence of processing steps like a1, a2 up to an, okay, which will be executed sequentially from a1 to an, and we'll also define pi minus 1 and pi as the state of algorithm before and after executing the action ai. Okay, so suppose for this addition algorithm, we have two statements in the algorithm, right, which is a1 and this one is a2, right? Now we will have state of the algorithm that are basically denoted by pi minus 1 pi, which denotes the which denotes the state of the algorithm before and after executing an action ai. So for this algorithm, for this instruction ai, we will have a state of the algorithm p0, which is basically the state of the algorithm before executing a1, okay, and then we will have the state of the algorithm as p1, which is basically the state of the algorithm after executing the statement a1. Okay, now that p1 again will be the state before executing the statement a2, and after executing the statement a2 the algorithm will go in a state which is basically p2. Okay, so this is what it means. So pi minus I and pi are basically the state of the algorithm before and after executing an action ai. Okay, so now what do we mean by state? So an state of an algorithm is nothing but the set of values corresponding to all the variables that are used in this algorithm. Okay, so in this algorithm we have only three variables used, right? We have x, we have y, and we have z, right? So the state p0, p1 and p2 will be denoted by the values of these variables x, y, and z. Okay, so the p0 will be denoted by the set of values of x, y, and z. Similarly, uh, p1 will also be the values of the set of values by the variables x, y, and z. Now if you look here, that the in p0 the value of z will be initially 0, Okay, and in P1 the value of xy will not be changed, only the value of z will be changed. Okay, so that will be the change of the state after, before and after executing and statement in the algorithm. Okay, so state of an algorithm is basically the set of values corresponding to all the variables used in this algorithm. Okay, so again, so before we start the algorithm, we will have an state p0. Okay, which is nothing but we'll call the p condition. Okay, before executing the algorithm, we'll call p0 as the p condition. The sequential statement rule can be stated as follows, which told that if p is equals to p0, p is equals to p0, so p, this p denotes to the p of 4 tuples, which is basically p condition. Okay, so the p0 is nothing but the p condition. Okay, so here we have p0 is equals to suppose we have passed x is equals to a, y is equals to b, then p, in this addition algorithm we will have the p0 is equals to a comma b comma p0 equals to x equals to a, y equals to b, and z equals to 0. Okay, then in the next state p1 we will have x equals to a, y is equals to b, and z equals to a plus b, like that. Okay, so in this so again, coming to the sequential statement rule, the sequential statement rule can be stated as follows. So if p is equals to p0, or the p condition is p0, and we have an transition of state from pi minus 1 to pi following the statement of algorithm, following the ith statement of the algorithm A, for all the statements from 1 to n. And then what will happen, so if we start with p0 and this occurs for all the n statements in the algorithm, will return will come to a state which is basically pn, right? So if you look at this example, what we have two statements, right, a1 and a2, and we start with p0 and we come to a state which is basically p2, right? So which is the end state of this algorithm. So if at the end the end state is nothing but the q is the post condition of 4 tuple, right, then we can tell that p a over arrow q is basically a valid algorithm or a correct algorithm. Okay, so let me repeat it again. It is, this statement is telling, in starting with precondition, which is denoted by p0, if we follow all the instructions, okay, of the algorithm one by one, and coming to the last state, coming to a state after execution all the n instruction in that algorithm, we have, if we arrive at the post condition q, then we can tell that this algorithm A is correct, which basically leads us from precondition to post condition. Okay, so to clear this idea, let us see an example. So let us take an example of swapping two variables without a third variable. Okay, so what do we have in this algorithm? So the algorithm will look like this. So suppose let us call this algorithm as A. Okay, and it is taking basically two variables x and y. Okay, now what we are trying to do, we are trying to swap these two value of these two variables without using a third variable. Okay, so the algorithm goes like that. The first instruction a1 of that algorithm is nothing but x equals to x plus y. Okay, in the second instruction a2 of that algorithm is basically y is equals to x minus y, and the third instruction again a3, which is again x equals to x minus y. Okay, so this is the algorithm of swapping two variables without using a third variable. Now the question comes, what will be the preconditions? Okay, now suppose we run this algorithm with the set of values where x equals to a and y is equals to b. Okay, so the precondition for this algorithm will be x equals to a and y equals to b. So this will be at p0 before execution of this statement a1. All the variables actually gives you the states of the algorithm, right? So there are only two variables x and y, which are containing values a and b respectively. So before executing the first statement a1 in this algorithm, what we have, we have x equals to a and y equals to b, right? So that is nothing but the p condition for this algorithm. Okay, now can you tell me what will be the post condition of this algorithm? So since we are trying to swap these two variables, so what we are expecting from this algorithm, we are expecting that the value of x will be changed to b and value of y will be changed to a, right? So the post condition, which is basically q, and or in other terms p3, right? Because the last statement is a3. So q is equals to p3 is equals to x equals to b and y is equals to a, right? So that is what the post condition should be, right? So now you can understand from the up to this part that we have the statement of the problem that we want to swap two variables without using a third variables. We have the algorithm. So we have denoted the preconditions from that statement, and we also have denoted the post conditions from that statement, right? Because we are, that is what we are expected to do from the problem statement. Okay, so now we have precondition and post conditions. Next, what we have to do? Next, we have to prove that following this instruction one by one from A1 to A2 to A3 will arrive from P0 to P3 one by one. Okay, so let us see how this proof is going to be. So initially we have the precondition which is P0 is nothing but x equals to a and y equals to b, right? Next what happened? So that is over here, before executing any instruction. Okay, next what will happen? Next a1 will be executed. So if a1 is executed, it will change the value of x as x plus y, right? So in x we will have x plus y, which is basically a plus b, right? So in x we will now have a plus b, but we do not have any change in variable y in statement a1, right? So y will be b, it will be left as it is, right? So after executing a1 we will reach to the next state, which is basically p1, right? So in p1 we will have x is equals to a plus b and y is equals to b, right? Now this is the state of the algorithm before executing the instruction a2, right? So on this state, when the a2 statement will be executed, what will happen? So y will be changed to x minus y. Now see, in this state value of x is a plus b, right? Now and value of y is b. So y is equals to x minus y will give you a plus b minus b, which is basically a. So y will be changed to value a, and there is no change in the statement a2 in the value of x, right? So in p2 we will have x equals to a plus b as it is, and y will be changed to a, right? Now this p2 is nothing but the state before executing the statement a3. So before executing the statement a3 we will have this state p2, right? Now a3 will be executed on this state p2, right? So if we execute the statement a3, so what we have x is equals to x minus y. Now currently we have x is equals to a plus b, right? And y is equals to a, right? So if we do x minus y, we will have a plus b minus a, which is basically b, right? And that b will be stored into x as per the statement in a3. So the value of x will be now be changed to b, and value of y will remain in a as in p2, right? So in p3 we will have x equals to b and y is equals to a. Now we do not have any further instruction in this algorithm, so we have finite number of steps in this algorithm and we have stopped. Now once we have stopped, the state of the algorithm is denoted by p3, right? And in p3 what we have, x equals to b and y is equals to a. Now if you look at our post condition, which is nothing but x equals to b and y equals to a, right? So this now proves the correctness of the algorithm. Okay, so this is how we use the sequential statement rule to prove the algorithm is correct. Okay, so in the next part we'll look into the conditional statement rule, how we'll prove an algorithm correct if it contains a conditional statement.